Introducing our guest speaker. She's a medical doctor, a board-certified psychiatrist, a leadership consultant, and a television guest expert. She's also the author of ExecutiveHealth.com's Leading Under Pressure. Please welcome Dr. Gaby Cora.
About 15 years ago, I was on a flight overnight to one of my first international meetings. And it was the first time that I was on first class. 2 or 3 hours into the flight, someone calls, "Is there a doctor on the plane?" I'm like, who's going to want a psychiatrist? So I stayed put and waited a few minutes. They called again, and I couldn't resist. So I had to, try to figure out what was going on. As I go into the coach area, I see a lady moaning. She's surrounded by people. She's grabbing her chest and moaning. The cardiologist beside her thought she had just had a heart attack. A neurologist beside her thought she had just had a stroke. There was another physician, and I don't know his specialty, but he thought that she had just had a perforated ulcer because she had just vomited. As a good psychiatrist, what can I do best? Chat with people. So I started talking to her family members. This lady had an anxiety disorder, and she used to take Valium on her flights, except for the fact that she forgot the Valium during that flight, and instead, she had some wine. So she was drunk. The diagnosis was easy, but as an expert, sometimes we jump into conclusions based on our area of expertise, but we can't forget how important it is to speak with our patients, our clients, our employees, and our colleagues to try to figure out what's going on and how we can help. This brings me to the first point that I want to make, which is, as a leader or an executive in your company, make sure that you have enough energy on your way up and on your way down, meaning on the way of making a big deal and on the way after you've made that big deal. Over the weekend, 4 climbers of Mount Everest passed away. They died. They didn't die on their way up to the summit. They encountered some challenges they had not anticipated. There were some traffic jams. So it took them longer than expected and a lot more stamina than they thought they were going to need. They died and perished on the way down. And this is a very common theme I see in great executives who bring all their stamina to make those amazing deals, and they work very hard, long hours, long days, long weeks, and they usually allow themselves to get sick once the deal is done. So make sure that you have enough stamina before and after the deal, so for the full ride. Now, I use an acronym to remind me of the things that are important to keep us healthy, and that is to live with love. Aside from living with love, which is so important for all of us, right? Most of our great sacrifices really relate to making ourselves and our families happy, right? And those that we serve. But love, let's use that as an acronym too. L stands for lifestyle strategies, okay? The 4 lifestyle strategies that I've found most effective with everyone that I work include regular exercise, eating healthy regularly, not just 1 meal a day, relaxing if you're a very busy executive, and most of you I'm sure are, and sleeping well every night. So easier done than said than done, right? But on the other hand, it's very important that we create those mini vacations every single day so that we can implement exercise, eating well, relaxing, and sleeping every night. The second point I want to make today is how important it is for us to be able to control chronic conditions. Millions of Americans struggle with cardiovascular disease, diabetes, or even mental health issues. And millions of them are also in the workplace. So we need to make sure that we can control all these chronic conditions. During another flight, and I tend to travel a lot, this is why I'm sharing this story with you, I flew from Miami to LA with a lovely gentleman who is a top executive of one of the pharmaceutical companies. And he is a community educator on AIDS and HIV. During that trip, I learned that he had been living with HIV for 20 years. He's a very successful executive, and his own doctor couldn't understand why he was doing so well with a very low CD4 count, with a great CD4 count, given his very hectic schedule. And the reason why he was doing so well was because he loves what he does. He loves his mission and his passion of helping the world. And this is one of the main reasons why he's been so successful and so healthy over the past 20 years. He lost his first wife to AIDS, and he remarried someone who's HIV-free. So we can all try to see how we can control some chronic conditions and be able to do that through those 4 pillars and lifestyle strategies. Now, the O for love stands for organizational skills. And as a psychiatrist, I must tell you, there's a diagnosis of ADHD, and it usually runs in families. So sometimes we have the blind guiding the blind, meaning parents who are not organized themselves trying to organize their kids, right? Same thing happens at work. You may have a manager or a leader who's not very organized, and they're trying to guide or manage their employees, and they're not the best at trying to get organized themselves. So I find that to be extremely important, organizational skills with planning and with prioritizing. That's what the O stands for. V stands for values. Valuing quality of life, valuing performance and productivity at work, valuing collaborative interactions within the workplace, valuing making sure that health is a high priority in the workplace or in our own lives is very important and a good match. When I value that as an individual and it matches the company that I work for, I'm going to be a very happy camper. Last but not least, enjoy. I don't know anyone who wakes up in the morning, looks at the mirror and goes like, I'm going to have a very nasty day today, and I'm going to make everybody's life miserable. We don't start that day that way, right? But what if we really brought in our intention to not only have a fantastic day, but also create a fantastic day for all those who work with us and those that we serve? What if we had that purpose in mind every single day? So the third point is to create a corporate culture that enhances that collaborative spirit, that enhances great leadership, and that enhances that individual health and well-being. Thanks for having me today. Hope you enjoy the rest of the award ceremony.